All right, guys, welcome back to another video. We have a ton to talk about today, so this may be a long one, but if you are new here and you like the content that you've been seeing, I see a lot of you are new and a lot of people are returning but aren't subscribed. If you do enjoy the content, make sure to hit that subscribe button and help this channel grow. I make daily gaming news content. So let's just jump right into this. First of all, let's talk about sales for the console. Now, we always talk about sales for the console, although we know that the console sales mean different things to the different platforms. Obviously, for PlayStation and Nintendo, it's far more important than it is for Xbox, just because of the way that they have built up their ecosystem. And during the month of November, we have Black Friday, and the goal of Black Friday with all of these platforms is to push as many consoles in bulk as possible, as we see the price cuts that have come to the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X and S specifically. There were some great deals. I think you were able to get an Xbox Series X in the United States for $350 or something around that price range. So that was pretty crazy. If you were ever looking to pick up a Series X, that would have been the time to do it. And you were getting insane deals. Maybe I think it was like 200 or 230 or something along those lines for the Xbox Series S. So just great deals for the Xboxes during Black Friday. And those prices translated to other parts of the world as well. Like there were deals all across. And this has specifically translated as well into huge jumps in sales for the consoles, PS5, Xbox, and even the Nintendo Switch. So it says here, this is specifically having to do with the UK market. It says, this was due to heavy discounting around Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo consoles that we saw a huge rise of 176% on month-on-month sales, up over 32% over November last year. And again, the Black Friday sales had a major thing to do with it. PlayStation's PS5, they say here, accounted for practically half of the game consoles sold during November. PS5 sales are up 149% month on month and up 126% over last November. In second place for last month was the Xbox Series X and S, which saw a 231% sales jump month on month. Again, due to Black Friday discounting. Compared with November 2022, Xbox sales were up 4%, and the Nintendo Switch took third spot with sales of 175% month on month and 19% over the same period last year. So there's going to be a lot of new people jumping into these consoles, being able to experience the games for the first time. On specifically the Xbox side of things, it is a major gateway into Xbox Game Pass, and people who are waiting to get into the Xbox console market here and just kind of see what it is all about, I think they're going to be extremely impressed as to what Game Pass is currently offering right now, and then going into 2024, how big of a lineup they are going to have in terms of release. So on the PlayStation 5 side of things, it is actually extremely impressive how much this console still sells, when the reality is going into 2024, we don't have any roadmap as to what bigger games from their first party studios are going to be releasing. Really, there is nothing that has been announced, but they obviously have their back catalog of great first party games that people will want to play if they haven't played them yet. Spider-Man 2 is going to help sell consoles as well. But the sales for PS5, I don't even see them slowing down in 2024, which is crazy. And again, this all goes back to something I've talked about in this channel multiple times, that narrative that it's the first party console exclusive that sells consoles is not the main reason why people pick up a PS5 or an Xbox. The main reason is for playing multiplayer, third party games, playing with their friends, where they have their digital catalogs. All of those types of things are far greater in terms of people's decision making when they go out and pick up a console. And we've seen that in 2022, Xbox still sold decently. They had really no major big first party releases. And then in 2023, PS5, they had a down year and it's been selling incredible. And we'll see how they do in 2024. But I have a feeling that PS5 is still going to be fine and sell very well. Okay, let's jump over here. Let's talk about some Baldur's Gate 3. As we know, it did release on Xbox. I just want to bring this up in case you have purchased the game and you're having save issues. It looks like Larian has seen this, and they are going to be updating this game to make sure that those save issues and everything that's happening with people's game files are disappearing. So Larian says that they are aware of saves being lost following crashes, specifically saying, we're aware of the issues of saves disappearing after the crash. An update is available from Xbox to help with some of these issues. Please manually update your Xbox through the system menu. So if you have the game, there's not going to be anything automatically that goes in there right now, I guess, to fix this issue. They're telling you to do it manually. So you might want to do that if you haven't started the game yet, or if you haven't had the issue yet. Before that issue happens, I would go and manually update your Baldur's Gate 3 via the Xbox system menu, just to make sure that doesn't happen. I want to bring that up because I know a lot of people are jumping into the game for the first time on Xbox. People are going to be purchasing it over the holidays. I don't want anyone out there losing their saves, because that is one of the most annoying things. Sometimes it makes you just not want to play the game anymore if you've progressed and then realizing you have to redo everything that you've done. So keep that in mind before jumping in or while you're playing Baldur's Gate 3. Okay, let's talk about this. And this one is a very interesting topic, a very interesting news story, and one that I think a lot of people will have different opinions on, and that is having to do with ads to get access to a service. So if being forced to watch an ad to get access to a service, kind of, I guess, similar if you're watching YouTube videos. YouTube videos are free to watch, but if you don't have YouTube Premium, or I guess if you don't have ad blocker, you have to sit through a pre-roll ad at the beginning of the video to get access to that content. And that completely makes sense. You have people and content creators that put out a ton of content, put a lot of time into their videos, and that's just a way to kind of pay them back for the amount of content they do put out there. But some people absolutely hate it and will refuse at any point to ever watch an ad before getting a service like YouTube or anything else like playing a mobile game. And it looks like Xbox is considering doing this to get free access to Xbox Game Pass. So here's the story. This comes via Microsoft's gaming CFO, Tim Stewart, who recently described how in the future you may be able to view ads to gain access to Xbox Game Pass. They say here, recent Xbox Series X and S co-strings we've seen seem to corroborate this, with the ability to earn 15-minute blocks of Xbox Game Pass access in exchange for watching ads. And Game Pass across PC, Xbox, and cloud features hundreds of games in exchange for the low monthly fee, which we already know that. I mean, you pay $15 a month or whatever it is for Game Pass Ultimate, or $16, and you're getting just an incredible amount of content to play for an unlimited amount of time. I would absolutely always end up paying for that monthly fee, even if this became an option. I would much rather just pay and make sure I'm not having to see any ads and have unlimited amount of time to play the games, because you have to sink a lot of time into video games. But this is another option I think that they're looking to experiment, probably to help monetize their Game Pass service and get more revenue out of it. It sounds very, very similar to what we've heard or seen when you pick up a mobile game, the free mobile games, and you have to sit through maybe like a 30-second ad or something to continue to play the game, to get credits, to get more time, anything like that. It looks like Xbox is wanting to experiment with this. Now, Tim Stewart described this scenario for Xbox Game Pass expansion, and here is what he says. He says, for models like Africa or India, Southeast Asia, maybe places that aren't console first, you can say, hey, do you want to watch 30 seconds of an ad and then get 2 hours of game streaming? Africa is, 50% of the population is 23 years old or younger, with a growing disposable income base, all with cell phones and mobile devices. Not a lot of high-end disposable income, generally speaking. So we can go in with our own business model and say, there's millions of gamers we would never have been able to address, and now we can go in with our business models. And that kind of puts this entire thing more into perspective as to what Microsoft is planning, or what Xbox is planning to do with this, if they do end up rolling this out, because this isn't currently something that is happening. They're looking at these markets that are they're poorer markets, and they don't have as much money as people in the United States, people in Canada. And they're thinking, how can we access these consumers who would want to play Xbox? And he says it right here. They don't have as much disposable income. We realize that. We still want to be able to give them the service. How can we do that? Ads. So they can still make revenue on these customers and then be able to provide Xbox Game Pass to them for free if they go ahead and watch the ad. Honestly, if that's a way to get in and reach more people and get more people playing on Game Pass and just opening up the access, I don't think it is a bad thing. And I feel like if they were to expand that out to the entire world, it would help people in every part, not just in Africa or India or Southeast Asia. I think anywhere, some people would just say, hey, I'm okay with watching a 15 or 30-second ad to gain 15 minutes of Game Pass and continue the game that I am playing. And there are the games out there where maybe you only spend 15 to 30 minutes at a time playing it before you take a break. And a lot of people will jump into that. This kind of also sounds like them thinking more about their expansion really into mobile gaming and potentially in the future opening up that Xbox mobile store. And for their mobile games, if a lot of them are free, they're probably going to have ads like this for you to be able to continue to play it. So, I mean, this is just another option. They wouldn't be taking away any paying for the service itself. And if it means opening up and providing more access to gamers around the world, I would say that I'm okay with this happening. And if they were to bring it everywhere, I wouldn't scoff at it, to say the least. And the other thing here that they do mention, which I found very interesting, is they definitely are focusing on the markets that just won't be buying the Xbox console, which shows you just how much value they actually do put on the Xbox console. They know how important that thing is to expand the ecosystem and get gamers into Xbox Game Pass, which is another reason why you won't be seeing the Xbox console going away anytime soon, as some people like to say. Now, when it comes to mobile gaming, there is a major story that broke just last night, and this has to do with the Google Play Store. As we know, Epic's been battling Google in court over the Google Play Store about it being a monopoly. They also previously battled Apple, which they lost 9 counts in their battle in court against Apple, and I believe they're bringing that to the Supreme Court and appealing it. But they are in court against Google, and the decision has now come down from the jury, and the jury has decided that Google has an illegal monopoly in the App Store fight. And this is huge. This is huge for a number of reasons, but specifically, this is going to be huge for Microsoft and Xbox. They're probably looking at this and probably happy with this decision, as we've heard Phil Spencer multiple times talk about wanting to expand out into mobile as well as create their own Xbox mobile gaming store to break up what it currently is now being deemed a monopoly with Google Play and also Apple's App Store in there, and get another competitor in there to open it up. And I think this will give them even more incentive to want to do that. But here's what it says. 3 years after Fortnite maker Epic Games sued Apple and Google for allegedly running illegal App Store monopolies, Epic has a win. The jury in Epic versus Google has just delivered its verdict, and it found that Google turned its Google App Store and Google Play billing service into an illegal monopoly. After just a few hours of deliberation, the jury unanimously answered yes to every question put before them, that Google has monopoly power in the Android app distribution markets and in-app billing service markets, that Google did anti-competitive things in those markets, and that Epic was injured by that behavior. They decided that Google has an illegal tie between its Google App Store and its Google Pay billing payment services too, and that its distribution agreement, Project Hug, deals with game developers and deals with OEMs were all anti-competitive. So this is, as they say, like an historic victory here for Epic, who they've been fighting against Apple. They've been fighting against Google because they have Fortnite on there, and it's probably the most, or one of the most played games on these stores. But in order for Epic to charge people for microtransactions and things like that, they have to go specifically through Google Play and specifically through Apple losing a percentage of their revenues to these huge companies. And they don't want to do that. They want to be able to take all the revenues themselves and be able to charge people directly through Fortnite. And that's what they are fighting here. And it's just interesting because they lost against Apple, but obviously this is completely different here when they are going against Google and they have won. And I think Xbox is going to be able to look at this ruling and say, hey, this is why we need to jump into this, and then be able to present options to companies like Epic, work with them and say, you can put your games onto Xbox's store, and we're not going to take a percentage of your revenues for selling Fortnite, selling microtransactions on Fortnite. And then maybe Epic works with Xbox specifically and they create a partnership, and it helps grow the Microsoft store. And that would be something I think Xbox would want to look into. So there's a lot of fallout that's going to happen from this, I believe. We'll continue to track it and see how this really affects what Xbox does going forward, and if it does at all, if it accelerates them wanting to release their mobile store. But a historic ruling here. Epic gets a massive win over Google, and Apple's probably sitting there laughing as they were able to defeat Epic. So Google here is on the short end of the stick when it comes down to all of this, which is a funny thing to see. Now, let's jump over here. Let's talk about a scam, an absolute scam that has occurred. The day before, this was a game where they were showing it off, they were announcing it, people were waiting for it, and I think waiting for the actual release of this game, a lot of people had thought, could this be a scam? And then they eventually actually released the game. So then they're like, okay, it isn't a scam. They put out a game out there for people to play and they're going to update it. They have the servers and they've put the infrastructure, all that type of stuff. But now the craziest thing has happened where they put the game out there, took everybody's money, and now they're running away with the money. Now, the studio for the day before is fantastic, and they are shutting down 1 week after the release. Crazy. This is what they have put out. Today, we announced the closure of Fantastic Studio. Unfortunately, the day before has failed financially, and we lack the funds to continue. All income received is being used to pay off debts to our partners. We invested all of our efforts, resources, and man hours into the development of the day before, which was our first huge game. We really wanted to release new patches to reveal the full potential of the game, but unfortunately, we don't have the funding to continue the work. It's important to note that we didn't take any money from the public during the development of the day before. There were no pre-orders or crowdfunding campaigns. We worked tirelessly for 5 years, pouring our blood, sweat, and tears into the game. At the moment, the future of the day before and prop night is unknown, but the servers will remain operational. We apologize if we didn't meet your expectations. We did everything within our power, but unfortunately, we miscalculated our capabilities. Creating games is an incredibly challenging endeavor. And then they say that they're grateful and they talk about basically the other releases that they have had. So this is insane. This is insane that this is happening. One thing I will say, if they didn't take any crowdfunding before the game release, that's a little bit better. But at some point, this game was number one on Twitch with like hundreds of thousands of players who bought the game and were playing it. And now all of a sudden, they weren't able to stay open financially, even though I think it sold extremely well. So we will see. It says we have a bunch of comments here, and the overall sentiment is that this is a scam. You have Cami here saying, refund everyone who bought it too. You sold a long-term game as a service and you're shutting it down less than a week. You have Synth Potato saying, scam y'all, taking the money you made and are running from your scam. You false advertised the day before for years and put out a game nothing like what you advertised. And this is not the first time we've seen this. This happens in the industry. Previously, it's happened in big games, even like Cyberpunk, where it happened. They say here, we all know you aren't shutting down because you lack funds, but because you're taking the money and running. The Modern Warzone says this will go in gaming history books and videos as one of the worst run scams of all time. So yeah, this sounds, this is a scam. I mean, this is what is going on here. I don't see anything else. There's no way a game shuts down a week after they release it and sell hundreds of thousands of copies of it. It's on Twitch. It's the number one game being streamed on Twitch. Major influencers are streaming it. You think that would propel it to lengths where they are able to make more than enough money to be able to sustain what they've done? They obviously ran into either a terrible business, as they mentioned, or it's a scam. So I'm going to go ahead and be on the side as of right now. This is a scam that the day before is. I mean, when this game was always popping up and I never thought it was actually going to release, and then it released and it wasn't in a great state. But for them to do this now, a week after, is crazy. A historical thing. Again, two historical things. You got Epic with Google. You have this happening. I don't remember the last time I've seen that happen, but that is just absolutely nuts to me. All right, let's jump over here. Let's talk about Halo the Master Chief Collection, which is, I would say, the greatest compilation ever in gaming, with all the Halo games in there, all the multiplayer stuff. It's incredible. And they have been updating this game for a long time. It's been so good how they turned it around from the launch where you couldn't really connect and there were issues there. But all the stuff they've added has made this game phenomenal. And now we're seeing a rumor here that it may be coming to an end in terms of future updates. It's not going to be over for people playing it. And there's already so much content there. Even if they stopped updating it, I don't think it would be a huge deal. But this is the rumor. It says Halo the Master Chief Collection may not be receiving any further updates. A 343 Industries thank you card causes concern for the future of Halo MCC. People are speculating that this is the end of the road for MCC. So they sent thank you cards to the devs, thanking them for their dedication, teamwork, and commitment. Now, this is all just rumor. This doesn't mean that they are stopping the updates, but I would not be surprised if the updates are going to be over for the Master Chief collection. I mean, they've given so many, it doesn't even really need anymore. There's so much content in there. You can go in there and play everything and still be completely satisfied for years and years to come. So we will see if they do make an official announcement about this, but these thank you cards kind of make it seem like that because it even has the date where the game came out to 07/23. So it seems like it is coming to an end. Now, finally, let's talk about this here. The Elite Series 3. We know this is coming. It's going to have major updates from the Elite Series 2. And it looks like they are trying to get feedback. Xbox is trying to get feedback on what people would want. This is on the Insider app. And here are some of the things they're asking about. So first of all, the Elite Series 3 or V3 controller could have Hall effect thumbsticks, colored grips, swapping faceplates, volume control, and lots more. Here are some of the questions that are asked. They ask, how do you typically adjust the volume during a gaming session and how often? How many profiles do you use, and would you like more or fewer profiles? Do you use the paddles, and what paddles do you use? What position do you keep the trigger lock, and how often do you adjust it? What cosmetic customization are you interested in? Colors for grips, battery door, customizable LED lighting. What functional customization are you interested in? Thumbstick module upgrades like Hall effect, which I think is an absolute must for the next Elite Series 3. So there's just no worry about the stick drift. Thumbstick and D-pad height and shape. And how often would you change the look of your controller, swapping faceplate, thumbsticks, paddles, and buttons? So those look like some of the things that Xbox is considering putting into the Elite Series 3. The other thing I would like to see would be haptic feedback where you have more immersion. That is the one thing I really do like on the PlayStation 5 DualSense as well as on the Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons, is that haptic feedback where the rumble is just different, more immersive depending kind of on what you're doing. One thing I hope they don't put in are those adaptive triggers that are on the PS5. I know that's been a talking point as, will Xbox upgrade their triggers and do what the PS5 is doing? I don't want that. I hate those triggers. I think they're bad in so many different ways. It doesn't increase the immersion, and I just don't like them. I actually much prefer the impulse triggers that are currently on the Xbox controller, so I would be okay with them sticking with that, or even something similar to that, maybe with some slight upgrades. But Hall effect thumbsticks definitely need to be there, and swapped faceplates would be pretty cool. There is a third-party controller that I have that you can swap the faceplates, and I actually kind of like that feature. So they're definitely going to do a bunch of things here and give us a brand new Elite Series 3, and I wonder when we will see the announcement for that. But I'm going to end the video there, guys. If you did enjoy this video, hit that thumbs up. If you are new here, hit that subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video.
Bye.